Mr. Ed Aguilar.
Good morning.
Mama Heidi sitting with Mr. Ed Aguilar from the Tuolumne River Trust. I was just with him on a river cleanup, and he has agreed to talk to me for Coffee Cup Gossip. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Cup of coffee and I'll be doing a lot better.
Hey, Coffee Cup Gossip, you're going to have to send us a selfie.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about your River Trust, Tuolumne River Trust, before we go on.
Well, the organization is a nonprofit.
Let me get a little closer.
We actually have 3 locations in San Francisco, Modesto, and in Sonora. And this is the Central Valley office where you're visiting with us this morning. We're a nonprofit organization. To summarize who we are, I would say we're the voice of the river. Tuolumne River specifically, which begins in the Yosemite watershed.
That. The voice of the river. Remember that, people.
We began in the watershed of Yosemite Valley, and the river flows all the way down through the valley, through Modesto, connects with the other tributaries, connect with the San Joaquin River, which are Merced and Stanislaus River, and then they head out to the delta through the San Francisco Bay. A lot of the water here that comes through the valley is utilized for agriculture and for human consumption. The river is also a tributary or a migratory path, if you will, for salmon and a species of steelhead.
Well, the place that we're sitting at, the Tuolumne River Trust, where did this place come from? How did it start?
The history of the organization, I probably will default to some of my colleagues. I've only been here 6 months now with the organization, so I apologize if...
Who are some of your colleagues?
Pardon?
Who are some of your colleagues?
Meg Gonzalez, who directs our education and outreach initiatives here in the Central Valley, and Karen Bryant, who is our advancement director, oversees a lot of our fundraising and grant development and stakeholder relations, if you will. And then we have other folks who are in the San Francisco and Sonora office. They've been with the organization a lot longer than I, and would be better references for the history.
Okay.
But how the organization started, the history of the organization began when there was an effort to acquire some of the, I guess, water rights, if you will, for the Tuolumne River to be utilized for other needs beyond recreation and public access. And a group of whitewater rafters decided to challenge the authority and try to retain the Tuolumne River for the benefit of all citizens, if you will.
So it started with some whitewater rafters.
Who were, in a sense, fighting the power in a good way. And as a result, if I were to accelerate the conversation further,
okay, we're going to stop right there.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Now it won't shut off on me. Stupid iPad. Okay, go ahead. Just continue.
So anyway, if I were to accelerate the conversation a little further, the net result of a lot of their efforts were having the Tuolumne River federally classified as a wild and scenic river. And 30 years next month will be the anniversary of that particular status. And there's my colleague Meg. And again, she could probably give you some better historical context about the trust and how they come about. But before we shift the camera to her, we may want to.
Yeah, I'm not here.
No, that's okay. This is focused on Ed Aguilar right now. We're just getting a little background on where you work and how you got started.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, I began my work here, like I said, about 6 months ago as the Riverside Community Organizer. In particular, working in and around a couple of areas where the river is adjacent, and that's referred to as the airport neighborhood in West Modesto.
I love airport, actually.
In the Central Valley. But in between those two neighborhoods is a large river access park known as Gateway Park, which falls under the Tuolumne River Regional Park Plan. It's a 7-mile stretch of parks and park access, starting in Ceres and continuing through west to south Modesto, Carpenter area, if you will. And so those have been sort of the focus areas for a lot of my effort on behalf of the trust. In a sense, I'm trying to bring the river to the communities and the communities to the river. And just given the complexity of the efforts and the challenges, it has been both a rewarding and a challenging effort to make that happen. So one of the initiatives that we have been supporting in partnership with Love Modesto in the spring, and then in partnership with the Great Sierra River Cleanups in the fall, the Trust has 2 river cleanup initiatives. However, one of our, what I consider community volunteer extraordinaire, Mr. Chris Guptill, who is a teacher at Davis High School,
Okay, 1 moment. Before we continue on with this guy, because